Okay, I think we're live. Hey everyone, welcome to the live stream. We're doing a Q&A with Roundtable Editorial, our company that we founded mid last year. Oh, there's our other co-founder. Hey Emily.
Hey.
So I'm just gonna drop your questions in the chat. We're gonna go through kind of the lightning speed of our personal bookish journeys. So my name is Rebecca. If everyone wants to do a roundtable.
My name's Ray. I'm also a co-founder with Rebecca.
Lacey, also co-founder. I knew that was going to happen.
Emily, I'm also a co-founder.
Okay, awesome. So I think Ray has a couple of questions just to get us warmed up here. Ray, if you want to ask those, I can put them on a little banner and they can show at the bottom.
Sure. Yeah. So just to kind of like start off real quick, just some things for y'all to get to know us as far as like who we are before we kind of jump into maybe what our business looks like and what our business model looks like, just to kind of give you guys a better understanding of who works at this company and kind of like why we're here and why we do what we do. I mean, for example, like favorite things to look for in your favorite books. I mean, personally, I'll start out. My favorite thing to look for in a book are character interactions. So how characters feed off each other and how they kind of feed off their environment. So, for example, if I find a really good set of characters that really just display good chemistry in a book, I think that's something that I really value as a reader. I think sometimes that can even supersede plot, which, if a plot may be lagging, I can kind of work around that if the characters have good dynamics and I can kind of see them in their world interacting. Yeah, it really just depends on a lot on characters for me. Like I said, how they interact with the world and how they interact with each other. So, yeah, y'all are kind of y'all can go ahead and kind of answer that as well.
Okay. Emily, do you want to go next?
Sure. So for me, what I really look for in a book, I am all for atmosphere. I love like dark, moody, atmospheric things. I'm a big fan of like strong feminine characters, but not necessarily like the stereotypical like dystopian, not like other girls thing. Like I really love unhinged characters. I'm also a big fan of character development, as Ray said. So yeah, anything along those lines. I'm a big fan of romance as well, but more again along the lines of like atmospheric, moody, dark kind of twists on it. Not like I'm trying to get into rom-com. Maybe I'll say rom-com one day. For now.
All right, Lacey, you want to give it a go?
Yeah, so I think for me, one of the things I really look for is, I don't know, I like just how like the characters interact, because I feel like for me, like even if I feel like a plot isn't that strong, I can get through it like just because I love the characters. And it's nice getting to watch like the characters like grow with each other and like evolve. And sometimes you see people who like may have hated each other go into being friends, and people who are friends like finally realize that they have like more than friend feelings and stuff. And yeah, I'm such a sucker for that. I'm also a sucker for found family.
So the relationships with characters, like really strong relationships.
Yeah.
I'm kind of similar. I like relationships between people, but also with the environment. So a lot of imagery is helpful for me, especially if the character somehow is developing through the environment and the other characters around them. If you can like combine those, that's like my sweet spot, where I don't know, I'd have this weird nature-y affinity. If there's like a nature scene in the book, I'm gonna love it so much more than I did before. So those are my bigger points of my favorite books, are just like making sure you can mix environment with the story really well, because I love feeling grounded. I like the verisimilitude. It latches on to like the little things, especially if it's just something as simple as how the doorknob felt, like if it was cold or something like that. Just like tiny, stupid, non-consequential things.
No, but I mean those small things add up in a work. They add up really quickly, right? Like, we were just talking the other day about how you repeat something 3 times and it becomes very obvious to a reader very quickly. So it's like if you repeat those small details and those cool little nuggets. I think I had a professor who used to call them, like flavoring. Like if you repeat that flavoring, that's what it's going to taste like, right? So no, that's totally valid. The small stuff, really builds, and it makes the. I feel like it kind of helps the larger things. It adds a bit of uniqueness to them. It adds a bit of flair. Kind of makes them pop. So
Yeah, that's kind of a point, I guess, of what almost differentiates a short story from a book for me. It's just like really fleshing out the plot of it. Because, I mean, you have books that take place within one single day and it's something crazy like 900 pages. But then you have a short story that's like the span of a week and it's 14 pages. And the differences between those for me really are just the small details and the fleshing out of the relationships and just the tiny little things like that. Okay. Comments. Someone's just.
that would be Brianna. Hey, Brianna.
Well, I mean, we could work on it. Plot is obviously the main answer, right? Like if you get a book, you're probably looking for a plot. I think what the question more so was just like what is something besides plot, because plot is obviously like that needs to be really strong, but that is also something that you can really help through editing, is to make that stronger. So we do look for plot. We don't necessarily look for the strongest plot, but we look for one that we know we can make stronger, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's a really good answer. I think the potential aspect is what is important, right? Like can we elevate the plot? Can we advance the plot and things like that versus like what it is stock. So yeah, I think that was a really good answer. She's funny. She's funny.
That's fair enough.
I mean, jumping to kind of like the next logical thing is like that's what we like to read or what we like to look for in writing. But like what got us into writing? I mean, personally, I didn't really find, especially like fiction writing and prose writing in general, I didn't really find that until college. I mean, I consider myself a pretty pretty young author in terms of writing. I mean, I know Rebecca, for example. I know you've been writing for forever. I'm pretty sure Lacey's been writing for a long time too. I'm not sure about Emily, but I mean, I really didn't pick things up seriously until probably midway through freshman year of college. So I feel like I still have a lot to learn and a lot to look for and things like that. And that's actually one of the reasons recently why I've been thinking about getting copy editing certified. So just to kind of like improve my knowledge base. So yeah, I mean, if any of y'all want to take that from here, because I know, like I said, y'all have been writing maybe a little longer than me.
I've been writing since I was 6 years old. I used to have like stacks of like college wide ruled notebooks. I would always ask for them for Christmas from my family, and they would just give me a bunch of notebooks, and I would fill them up with like silly little stories with illustrations. Um, but even then, even if I've been writing for over a decade, there's still so much to learn all the time. So I feel like, especially whenever you're with a group of people, a group of fellow writers, and you're making, a business, it's good to have other people to learn from. And that's just the writing community in general. Like just every single time in college, whenever I would take a workshop class, there was always something new to learn.
Right. And that's part of the basis of our business too, Emily, is like, it doesn't matter how long you've been writing, there's always chance for improvement. And that's something we really, really love about doing the roundtable approach. It's more of a workshop than it is like do this. I'm your editor. I'm so smart. Listen to me. It's a little bit of that. Like, we want to help you, obviously, and we have degrees and we have advanced practice in these sorts of things. So we want you to take some of our advice, but we also know that we have the chance to grow from each other, which is why a workshop style is so important to keep for us. And it's something that we really hold sacred in this sort of approach. It's something we really want to bring to more writers, because I know that everyone thinks writing is this solitary, lonely, drunken process, like write drunk, edit sober. But it doesn't have to be. I mean, if you want to write drunk, be my guest. But if you want to edit sober and with people, it's really the place for you, because it doesn't have to be this very lonely, very solitary practice. Like, is the, what's it called? The trope, the
Cliche.
Cliche. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I think we can thank Hemingway for the drunk thing. That's all him.
Emily, do be flexing though.
It wasn't a
she was
flex. I don't know
6.
anything. I promise.
6 years old. I don't even
The
know what my favorite
stories.
cartoon was.
I was not like a child prodigy, I promise. My very first stories, I didn't use real words. I like scribbled lines across the page and made up words in my head. So like if you were to pick up one of the first notebooks that I wrote in as a kid, you'd be like, it doesn't make any sense. There's literally no words. It's just like scribble lines. So
Wait, what is Rebecca showing?
Christmas was good. Listen for.
Oh goodness.
Like,
gracious.
that's where we all started. So like we say we start at like 5 or 6 years old, but this is what we're starting.
Makes me feel better.
I remember I had like a Harry Potter like wide ruled notebook that like I cherished so much. Like I thought it was just so cool. And then like I wrote in that so much. Like it came in like this little like Harry Potter like box set thing. And so like it also came with like a stamp, and then it came with like parchment and everything and like its own pen. And I was like, it was so cheap, but like I was like in heaven. And then like I found it like later on and I went,
This
I
is
ruined this book.
writing good as a child.
Like, I thought I was like, like Harry Potter, like writing with a quill, like on the paper and stuff, and then stamps galore. It was like a lightning bolt stamp. And so yeah, it was fun.
The point you were just saying. I mean, that's where we all start, right? Like hieroglyphics, cave paintings. Honestly, any form of storytelling, whether it's visual or not, is a good way of storytelling. There's so many ways to do it, but gotta start somewhere. And sometimes all you know is what you see, and you don't know how to put that into words. So
I gotta be honest with the mention of Harry Potter. I'm gonna divulge something here. I mean, it's confession cam, I guess. I've never read Harry Potter. Never touched them. Never had a desire to. I'm just missed that wave. And I don't know if I can call myself a writer.
Out.
Oh, okay.
Get out.
It's down to 3 now.
I'm sorry, it was just an example. What about finger paints? Did you do chalk?
Okay, so like
Chalk's the real
I
deal.
actually used charcoal, like legit like barbecue charcoal to like draw on the asphalt at one point, because I thought like, because we were learning about like cavemen and stuff like that in school, and I was like, I got chalk, I'm gonna go draw. It did not work out.
Oh my, I thought you meant like real artist charcoal, and I was like, do you know how expensive that is?
No, I didn't get artist charcoal until I was about like 13.
Miss Sam L. Story. Okay, we're not here to reader shame. You do you, boo.
See, I have supporters.
Well, okay, so I didn't read them until I was 15, but like you have no excuse now.
I honestly wish I had read the series a little bit later in my life because I was so ambitious as a middle schooler trying to read as many books as I can and all of like the really big books. And I can't tell you I remember that much about Harry Potter anyway. I'm trying to reread them.
I feel like I read them
Fine.
under the covers because my parents were ultra religious at the time. So I was that person with the flashlight under the covers, like listening for all the like minute sounds. Luckily, they're not that way anymore. They love Harry Potter, but
So for me, it was I found out early on that like, you know, people like shit on the movies, like shit like if something goes from a book to a movie, then people just like hate the movie. Oh my God.
kidding.
See?
Thank you from the
No.
chat.
See? I have supporters. See?
Ray, you just don't even know.
This is kind of validating me. That's all I'm saying. Like, my head is swelling. Like, just saying.
It was definitely the main character. I don't know about you fools, but no, it was very much so one of those things where I would get in trouble. So it was a necessary precaution.
Well, no. Okay, so that brings me to another very important question, and that's kind of neat and off the beaten path. But so I actually used to get in trouble as a kid for reading too late at night.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, like you had a bedtime, whatever, and I just wouldn't turn the lights off because I'd be reading until like 11 or 12 or whatever, and my dad would come upstairs and be like, "What the fuck are you doing, like, dude? Like, no." I mean, this coming from a guy who may or may not have read in school and may or may not read anything ever now, but it was one of those things that was so funny. Like, it's not like it was video games or anything like that. It was books. Like that's kind of when I knew I was a nerd.
My mom got on to me for so much. I'll never forget. I was either like a junior in high school or a senior. So I was like 16 or 17 and I was reading the only John Green book I've ever read, and it was Paper Towels. And my mom busted into my room at like midnight. She goes, "Go to sleep." And I was like, "I'm reading." And she goes, "I don't care. Turn out your light." So I turned out my light, and then I used my phone. And then she came back in at like 2 a.m. and she goes, "I'm not getting you up in the morning." And I was like,
You would go to sleep at like 3 a.m. and then they would wake you up and you'd be grumpy. Like, so at least for me, I'd wake up and just be the absolute scum of the earth trash.
it depended. Like some nights, if I only got like 3 hours of sleep, I would actually just like be fine the next day.
Oh no,
Yeah.
hon. I'd go to bed at 3 and wake up at 6. Just absolutely not the same human being, and I didn't even care because I was like, I finished it. I finished the book.
I think the last time, and I quit reading really like whenever I got into college. Of course, you had like the class books and stuff like that. But the last time I like legitimately sat down and read anything was when we had that freeze week and everything was closed. And I read 5 books in 5 days, and I have never felt that high since.
Y'all have got to get into audiobooks.
It depends on who the narrator is.
No, you
And
don't.
I have to have the book in front of me. So what's
If you
the point?
actually want to read books in your life today, if you want books to be a part of them, you have to do audiobooks. It's not about like the narrator anymore. It's about practicality. You read on your way to work.
No, that's not
She's
reading.
got a
That's
point.
someone trying to lecture to you, and I can't follow along with what's being said. Just like I hate
it is
podcasts.
scary that you don't read books.
I mean, I read stories. They're not necessarily books, but
Listen, no, not even Audible. No, get Libby. Go into the little preferences, say I want audiobooks only. I'm telling you, listen, I was able to get the Libby from Boston. They have everything on audiobook. Literally everything. My favorite books have been on an audiobook recently. Like, it is a game changer, a lifesaver. It will save your reading career. Guaranteed.
I just can't focus. Like I've always like had to see everything in front of me. That's why like if a teacher was up front like lecturing at me, like I couldn't understand unless I saw them writing something down. That's another reason why I hate podcasts, because I can't focus.
How many
I'm the
audiobooks?
exact same way.
How many audiobooks?
I mean,
least
to be fair,
5 in this past year,
it's
but
not-
I had the book in front of me.
it's a skill. It's not like a passive thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's not one of those things where you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna try audiobooks one day. Like, it's really
It
something.
just gives me a headache, man. I can't do it.
No, I don't believe you. I don't believe it.
You didn't see me on the car driving 6 hours to Panama. I couldn't do it. Like I almost had to pull over and have someone else drive.
Yeah. See, Sam, I have ADHD as well, and audiobooks for me have really been a game changer. Like, they're the only way I can pay attention now.
I'm definitely gonna have to try them because like I really like podcasts, and I really only listen to podcasts like driving. So that would seem like books would seem like a suitable replacement for podcasts. You know what I mean? I just the only thing I would worry about is like starting a book and then stopping and then start because usually I'm only in the car for like 15 to 20 minutes.
It works.
So like, that would be the only thing I'd worry about.
Listen to them in the shower.
I could. I don't know if my roommate or the suite mate next to me would appreciate that, but I could.
Also, you should get the audiobook of Spinning Silver. You'll enjoy it.
Wait, did you say Spinning Silver?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Who's it by?
Naomi Novik.
Okay. I'll write that down.
Okay. Do we want to talk a little bit more about the business?
Yeah. Let's transition into some things. I mean, that's
We got a business.
I just got a book rec. I'm doing great.
Yeah, I mean, we can do like our little introduction thing, which is basically we started this company because we believe that the one editor per manuscript model is super outdated, frankly. Your audience is so diverse and so educated that there's no way that one editor is going to be able to encompass all of those ideals. But a group of editors can get a lot closer to it. And we're also not freelance editors. We are a company, which means that you are insured to get a group of editors of high quality caliber. You're going to get professionals with degrees and a lot of experience, which means you're guaranteed that you're going to know inside and out what they're doing. And you can also switch out team members if you want, because that's part of the company guarantee. You get the team that you feel is really going to be best for your book and your work and you as an individual. So you're getting an insurance, you're getting a team, you're getting a sample audience.
I didn't know Discord was down. It's down?
I don't know. I haven't been on Discord in a while.
I'm in a writing group and I haven't checked any of the notifications.
I mean, I can check. Oh wait, I got a new phone. I can't check on my phone.
Yeah, I have the same problem, Rebecca. I switched phones and I was like, I don't really need Discord.
Dude, and I don't even like the new phone. I don't even like it. It's so sad.
Well, I mean, yeah, off what Rebecca was saying, that's kind of what makes us unique as a company, right? Is instead of like a one editor manuscript type business design, we've decided to incorporate several different perspectives into the same manuscript in order to not necessarily catch things that one would miss per se, but just to give different feedback on the same type of work, critique it in different structures, different formats. Obviously, everyone has their own style of editing, so we take that into account when we choose lead editors for works and things like that. So, it's really just more of an all-encompassing approach, I guess is a good way to term it. We're just making sure that we're providing the best possible product that we can. Because your work is worth it. If we decide to take it on, then we see potential in it, and we see what it could be. And so we're going to give you the edits that that try to make it that. So yeah.
And we're also a little bit faster because when you get a lead editor, they assign each editor under them to a specific type of editing that they're going to be focusing on for the entire piece. So they're going to have a faster turnaround rate because they're only looking for that one aspect of the story. And if they find something else along the way, they put it in a separate little thing, and we can have a separate meeting about everyone's extra thoughts after. I hear what they're saying. However, hi, Lauren. How are you? We're just going over business stuff. Yeah, so that's our business in a nutshell. There's a lot of encompassing stuff. If you guys have questions, we're totally here to answer those. We want to know what you guys want to know so that we can actually answer the questions you have. And we can't do that because we're so close to it. It's our baby, so we're kind of just on the back end, like, it all makes sense, right? Make it make sense, figure it out. But we know that you guys aren't on the back end, so there's a lot of stuff you're not seeing. So we want to be able to show you for sure.
One way I think about, the roundtable approach is, like in English classes, like you have workshop classes, and so you get to have like all of these people like read your story, and then they send you like their critiques and their thoughts and stuff like that. And for me, it was always like really interesting getting to see that, because some people would catch stuff that I would notice, or they would take something a different way that I wouldn't really like. I never really thought of it that way. And so you get to see like all of these different perspectives. And so like with the roundtable, I prefer multiple people like critiquing my stuff, just because I feel like it helps make it better. I mean, you can have one person, I mean, obviously if you have a class of like 20 people and you're getting like 19 critiques back from them, you start to see like, okay, you have like maybe 5 people who are saying like, oh, I don't really like this. Like, I don't like what you said here. I don't like this character. But then you have like, another like 14 that are just like, I loved this. And so you kind of get to see like the difference and like how people think. Whereas if you had just gotten one person from like the 5-person group who were like, oh, I hate this, like you need to change everything, you would be like, oh, this isn't good, obviously, because this person is telling me like, oh, I hated it. But then you have other people saying like, no, 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 like this is fine, like you may need to develop it a little bit, but like, we want you to keep it. And so that's I would love multiple editors, honestly. Just because I'm kind of a person that likes getting different opinions and stuff like that before, I like make a decision on something.
Yeah, and I mean, we truly are coming at this from a writer's perspective, because we've all been there, and I think we know the value and how many perspectives can add to a story. So we're all very aware of how that can benefit a book. Emily, did you have something?
Oh yeah. I was gonna add to what Lacey was saying about the workshop classes that we took in college. One thing about those classes as well, which are very similar to how we're taking on our process, is that it feels a lot more intimate, like between the writer and their peers that's editing their work, versus having just one person just sit there and talk at you about what. And I'm sure, I'm not saying that like every like singular editor is like that, but it feels like that sometimes, where you're talking with one person versus talking with a group of people that you're sharing your writing with, sharing your experiences with, and like just mutual feelings all around. And you kind of feel like you're in the same boat with these people too. It's a very reassuring feeling, very like familial. So at the round table, it'll definitely feel more like that, where you have like a group of fellow writers and fellow editors if the person's an editor as well who knows where you're standing, and it feels a lot more closer and a lot warmer.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Sam is asking about charge rates. So we are here. I'll keep this up. So you're getting the insurance that you're going to have a group. You're going to have the ability to change out people in the group. If you're not feeling someone and they're really not vibing with you, you can change them out or take them out completely. You're getting the guarantee of a company backing, which means if someone's not doing their job, you can tell us and we'll take care of it. You're not getting freelancers, right? Which are not guaranteed to be educated. They're not guaranteed to be professional. They are not backed by a company. So for that reason, we do charge 4 cents per word, and it's a little bit on the higher end of what editors usually charge, but it is within the realm of what we see in the field. I can put a link to a website that shows the usual rates that editors charge, and I did use that to gauge our prices. So I really didn't want to be exorbitant with this. I wanted to be realistic, but I also wanted to be able to realistically run a company that backs editors, not just have a bunch of freelance editors come to us as a boss. I really wanted to make it sort of that family focused feeling that Emily was describing, and have the guarantee, the security for the writer and for the editor. You know, if our editors have a writer who's being absolutely ridiculous, because I'm just guessing it's bound to happen eventually. One day there's going to be someone who is just like, you know, a little bit outside of our realm of comfort, and we'll be able to deal with that as a company rather than a freelancer having to deal with that on their own. So they're represented by an entire company and a backing.
Yeah, great explanation, Rebecca. That was great. Yeah, I mean, you know, it's one of those things. It might seem a little different from.
Sorry, Ray. You're paying for
Go
multiple
ahead.
editors, so that encompasses the multiple editors, all of that. So, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was leading into. Actually, is you know, it seems different because it is different, right? Like you're gonna look at the prices, or you're gonna look at, you know, what we're talking about doing, and you say, well, why this way versus another way? And it's because the process is truly different, and I've come to believe that it's truly unique in the sense of editing, that, you know, usually a work doesn't get this many looks. And what I mean is, you know, not on any fault of a singular editor out there, or a freelance editor, or an editor with another company, but I mean, at the end of the day, who's going to have at minimum 8 pairs of eyes on this? So, you know, like I struggle to see where you're going to get the kind of value in the open market that we could provide, and hopefully that we will provide, you know, if you do end up having to choose our services. So, yeah.
And on top of it, we're more familiar with the audience that's out there right now, just because that's what we've been studying for so long. We're super immersed in it, in the culture, and we're very aware of what's happening. And I think a lot of editors right now, if they're charging the same rates, it often means they've been in the business for a very long time, but they're not taking into consideration how much it's changed in the past few years.
Yeah, we're still hip and cool. We're still young. Our age is nothing but a benefit. And I think that's a great segue into kind of another question is, you know, who would most benefit from a consultation with us, right? So who would really be looking for our services? And I think we've come to determine that really it's anybody with enough enough of a drive to really want to put their manuscript out there, and not only just want to put it out there, but want to put it out there well, right? The whole point of editing is to polish a manuscript and to get it ready for publication, right? Now, obviously, you can edit on your own as a writer. It's actually, you know, very much preferred that you do that and you learn how to do that. I'm sorry, I was trying to be funny. You can very well do that on your own as a writer, and you should do that as a writer. It's a valuable skill to have, and it's something I think that you should learn how to do, definitely. But as far as this goes, professional editing, I mean, if you're having issues with structuring, or if maybe you think your manuscript is 80% there, 85% there, and you really want someone to do a job of cleaning it up and making it very presentable for you to query it and hopefully get it into a publishing house. I mean, that would be who would need to consult with us, right? Is someone looking to take their work, quote unquote, to the next level of publishing and of just the writing process, right? Like, I think for a fair bit of authors that the whole point is to get published. Now, what happens on the journey is another thing, but ultimately, for me, for example, I write so that I can be published, so that I can kind of get my name out there, and so that I can make an impact on the literary world. And again, that's a very personal journey, and you'll have to figure that out for yourself. But an editorial, specifically us, can help you do that, and that's our function here, is to help writers.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't say hip again until we actually break one.
Don't tell me that.
I was about to say, Lacey might. That actually might not be too far off.
Well, my dog is taking down my shelf. Hold on.
Yeah, Lacey, are you okay? You recovered from your trip?
I was.
Take that as a note.
But then I went to jiu-jitsu.
Oh, well, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
And then my partner actually, like, he was rolling with a higher belt, and they and like one of his false ribs like popped, and we're not entirely sure what happened. So neither of us have been back to jiu-jitsu for like the past week. You can tell because my nails are long, and in jiu-jitsu you can't have long nails.
There's such thing as false ribs? Is that what you said?
Yeah, so like you have so here's the thing. You have your ribs that, connect all the way around, right, to like your sternum, but then you have false ribs, and they don't connect to your sternum, they connect to cartilage, like they're connected by cartilage. And then you have floating ribs, which don't connect at all. So like up here.
I was thinking that it was like an implant or something. I didn't know that was like a real term for a real thing.
Inside of you, Lacey.
This is my pre-nursing major side coming out with me right now before I was an English major.
No, Emily, that's fair.
Biology class in like 5 years, so
that's fair.
Your face was absolutely. You were like, what?
Well, you know how like people have like knee replacements and stuff? I don't know. I didn't get replacements.
Sorry, Jenny.
You have right. You have line. Why are you getting a false rib, my friend?
That's so funny. Look, Emily, I understand. If my old roommate hadn't been like a biology guy, I would have had no idea what are you talking about? A false rib?
Yeah.
Why isn't it just a regular rib? Yeah, no, I feel that.
Because it's connected by cartilage.
Well, I get it now.
Well, I just want to clarify. And then you have floating ribs, but that doesn't mean that your ribs are like actually floating within you. It just means that they aren't connected up front.
Sounds fake.
Science. Yeah. Science isn't real.
Biology is garbage. Yeah, you can tell that we were definitely not anything but like English majors, because I took anthropology once, and that's as close to science as I've come.
Unfortunately, I actually liked my fighting class. So I legitimately like limp out of there like after every single class. So
yeah, I mean, the only reason I knew what you're talking about was because I took anatomy and phys in high school, and I really loved that class in a morbid way. But
so for me, I went into college as a pre-nursing major because everyone was like, "Oh, like nursing is great, like it's respectable, like you'll make money and stuff." being someone who's never been good at math or science, I don't know why I ever thought that I could become a nurse because that's science and math. And so I took biology, like just intro biology for science majors, and then I had to retake it. And then whenever I finally transferred to be an English major, um, I decided to take Intro to Bio 2 for science majors because for some reason I couldn't take the non-science major one. So I suffered for like 3 semesters in total because I had to take Intro to Bio 1 twice, and then I had to take Intro to Bio 2, but thankfully I only did that once. So do I remember anything? That's debatable,
Listen,
but I
like
didn't.
the hell out of a nurse, but like I could never. Like when people tell me that they're going into nursing in college, I'm like, sorry, bud. Feel bad for you. Okay. What else? What else do people need to know or want to know or should know?
We can discuss
Well, I
our
mean-
goals as a business. It's probably an important thing to discuss to the public.
Yeah. Okay.
So essentially the goal of Roundtable Editorial, I would say, is just a fresh outlook on, the editorial industry, the publishing industry, because everyone understands the publishing industry as just like kind of a one-on-one thing, kind of an outdated model of just writer and editor working on a manuscript together. But the way we're doing it, and we're just 4 people right now, but eventually, hopefully in the future, we'll have even more editors at Roundtable Editorial. So you have not 1, not 2, but at least 4 perspectives on your manuscript. And whenever we have more editors, you can, find someone who really works with you, who really fits like your demographic, your beliefs, like anything like that, whatever you're writing about, there's likely someone who will be there to help you. And then while that person's helping you, you have everyone else to look at that manuscript as well. So we're really trying to freshen up the publishing industry by having those, several hands to work on one manuscript, so you can really flesh it out as much as you possibly can, instead of like constant trial and error with just, singular editors.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, that's a good point, Emily. As we grow, we're really looking at getting editors who are representative of the entire population. Right now, like you said, it is just us 4 because it happened to be the people I had immediately in my network. So, there's that. But we are looking to grow at least we're going to double in the next few years. I'm hoping that's the goal if we get enough authors and writers on board. We're really wanting to add people who can be more representative of the people we're going to be working with, because I mean, that's the entire goal, right? Like we can't represent everyone, obviously. Like I can only do so much. Like I can talk about people with ADHD all day. I could talk about white women under the age of 30 all day with ADHD. Those are my niches. And those can get me a pretty long way, but they can only do so much. So yeah, we're really looking to get more hands on deck for our writers. We're expecting, yeah. I know that I have a list of a couple of people I'm looking to talk to in this coming year. So I'll be reaching out to them if everything goes well, if our trajectory is upwards in this next year. For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the process goes a lot smoother, with the more people on hand. It's kind of like anything, right? Like the more hands you have on something, the smoother it can kind of go, and it kind of lessens everybody's burden, right? Like that's part of the idea as to why our turnaround times can be so strong, and our overall feedback can be so strong.
Are we accepting? Okay, I see what you mean. Are we accepting new employees at the moment? Sorry, I misread that. At the moment, we're not, because we're just launching. We're super brand new baby girls. So, plus boy. We are just trying to get our feet on the ground and start running. So at the moment, no, but very soon, hopefully. I hope that answers your question. Yeah.
Rebecca, since you just did a consultation, do you want to talk about like how that process would go?
Yeah,
And if it's free or not?
That's a good place to pick up. So typically the way consultations go is that you query us. And I personally like it when you tell me who you're querying as the lead editor, so that I know I can give it to that person and they can go over it. The way I like to do it is I like to skim to see if I'm interested, to see if I have immediately gut feelings about a manuscript. And then I will immediately email the author and say, I'd like to set up an initial meeting with you. So you'll get to know me, you'll get to know whoever the lead editor is within that first week of querying us, hopefully. So yeah, we have the initial meeting. You get to know a little bit more about the individual person. So if you have any questions about how we work individually, what sort of edits we like to give, that's when we'll answer those questions. If your book requires some special type of editing, that's when you would tell us, and then we can build our team based off of that information. So if you're someone who needs help with point of view and imagery, I'd probably say like, I'm great at imagery. I can help you with that. Emily is probably pretty great with point of view, so she could probably help with that. And that's how we would build up our teams. From the lead editor, I would recommend the team, and then you can veto people if you want. You can keep the team and say, I trust you because you're my lead editor. So that's that first meeting. And if we decide to go separate ways, that's cool. Please consider us again. Just know that if we are setting up a meeting with you, then it's likely that we really, really believe in your work, and we would really love to work with you. We see something special in your writing, and we think that we can take it to the level it needs to be at to query. So yeah, that's that initial meeting. It's really just like get a vibe check a little bit, but in a good way.
And to add on to that, like you can go to our website and, see like the different, things that we enjoy reading.
We'll keep you in our direction, Sam.
But yeah, like you can go onto the website and, see like what we really enjoy reading and, kind of get a feel for who we are because, not only do we have like our little blurbs that kind of give you like not the details, but like the technical information, like, the jobs we've had and our education, but then you can like click on that and then it brings you to like, what we look for, which is, what we talked about earlier, and then why we enjoy doing what we do. And I feel like that can really help you get to know us because I mean, I know for me personally, I kind of went in just like writing as if I was talking to a friend because I don't know, I'm chill. Like I'm not gonna look at you and be like, so yes, what do you want to accomplish with this? I'm just more like, okay, yeah, so what's happening?
Yeah, and I mean that's a good way to gauge who you want to be as your lead is like if you need someone who's a bit more like what's the goal here, just pay attention to those sorts of things. If you need someone who's going to be really just like pushing you to reach your best potential, or if you need someone who's a little bit more like, listen, dude, we can just be here together in the same space and live. Pay attention to those things because the lead editor is really going to set the tone for the group and the expectations. And they're probably going to lead the group based on those expectations. So that's a really important thing. And if you need to change that, again, if you're paying for us, you can go in and change that. It is your process all the way. We're just here to make sure that you're getting multiple sets of eyes on this. So. Also, hi Shay. I'm so glad you can make it. It's okay that you're late. We're just kind of giving information in rambly little bits, and hopefully it's helpful. I mean, I'm having fun.
I was about to say, let's be nice to ourselves. It's a little more put together than that.
Learned a lot about
yeah.
fake ribs.
Fake ribs and
That's
the
what you
lack of
missed.
Harry Potter.
She
Yeah.
wasn't even ready for that. She's gonna be like, "What the hell?" And we're gonna have to re-explain that whole process.
So apparently, yeah, we just to plug this really quick, on our website, we also have a blog. So guys, check that out. We plan to kind of keep it running with at least one post a week. That's kind of been our low goal that we've set. I'm sorry, Rebecca.
I said, Emily, I need to post today's blog. I'm terrible. I have it ready. It's written.
Yep. There we go. See, we're already reminding ourselves of things. But yeah, we have a blog up and running. We've got a few posts on there. So if you guys, want to check that out while you're on the website, you totally can. The website's beautiful, by the way.
The blog is not just about editing either. It's whatever we feel about talking about that has to do with writing that week. So if you're going on there saying, "Oh, these people are going to teach me how to write," wrong. We're probably not. I mean, we'll give you tips. Some of us will like say like, "Hey, maybe you should try this." But I know like for me this week, you're not getting tips. You're just getting information about writers and why that's cool. So yeah.
I know for me, my first blog is I don't even remember the title, but basically it's been so long. But basically it's, like how to it's on writing what you want to write, because I know for me, like when I first started writing, I really concerned myself with what I thought other people would want to read. Like, I was like, how am I supposed to find out? Like, if something's going to be like what someone else wants to read, and, how do I get people to be interested in it and stuff like that. And it took me a while to get to the point where I'm at now, where it's kind of, I just write what I want to write, and if you like it, then great. If you don't, you don't have to read it, And then it also talks about, like how you start like developing the idea that you want to write about from, kind of like you may have like a bunch of little thoughts like floating around your head and stuff like that, but then you like kind of have one that interests you, and then you like kind of grab onto it for maybe a little bit, and then you just see where it takes you and how to go from there. That was fun. I should probably go reread that because I'm trying to start on a different story now.
Yeah. And I think that's what's a little bit different about the blog too, is that we're not super dedicated to saying like, oh, we're editors, we can only write about editing. It's more like, no, we're editors, we're writers, we're readers. So we're going to write about those three things because that's what we know. So it's not just like this super stodgy, uptight thing that is only edited based or only about the company. Like a lot of blogs are, like you'll go onto their blog and it's like, what did Roundtable Editorial do today? And it's like, I don't care. I don't care what they did today. So. Yeah. We are almost at an hour. We have about 6 minutes left. If you guys have any extra questions or if anyone wants to talk about anything else real quick, we're probably going to end this around 8 p.m. just to keep it at a clean hour. I don't have anything else.
Well, I mean, if this is my gold moment to shine and take over, I absolutely will. So yeah, I mean, personally, and I kind of thought about this a little before, but something unique with us as well is larger manuscripts. So like 100,000 plus words, 90,000 words. I mean, those are tanks of works, right? Like you can expect an editor to really dive into those, and it'll take them a very long time to be able to sift through that, and especially like things like line edits, specific phrases that you could toss out, specific words you could turn on their heads. I mean, that's a large ask from one human being who may be editing not as their primary focus, right? Not as their primary job. So maybe they do that when they get home and they edit for a word, whatever you want to say. I think that our process actually better encompasses larger manuscripts because there are more of us, right? So it's less of a burden on each of us as an editor. And yes, we'll all be reading the same work, but it's kind of like that lighter focus for each of us can combine, and we can form almost like a magnoscope. Is that a word? No, no. What am I? What's the thing?
Microscope?
Microscope. Oh my goodness!
Science.
I just combined. Yeah. See, I have no scientific knowledge whatsoever. Um, but yeah, we can kind of almost make a microscope out of all of our different lenses of thought, and really zoom in and hone in on, okay, what is the work doing well? What is it not doing well? Which parts of the work are slow? Which parts of the work are fast? Which has just the right pacing? I mean, I really think that those larger works often they have a problem with the speed of turnaround, and I think we can mitigate that. So larger works are something that we could really focus and specialize in. If you're afraid that your work is too large for one person, that's a valid fear, right? That's valid. So we're looking to fix that.
Yeah. Again, we are not science majors. So,
Yeah, I don't know what my brain just did. I kept trying to just make an invention, I guess.
You're burned out from
I don't
all
know
the
why.
studying. It's understandable.
I just forgot that a telescope existed, and so I tried to combine it with the other one, and now I've forgotten both of them again. So here we are.
But kind of going off of what you were saying, but kind of going off of, what Ray was saying, I mean, I've, you know, gone through like 100,000 word manuscript that, took me like multiple weeks to get through. And the person wasn't even asking me, for like detailed like line edits and stuff like that. That was just them, wanting like an overall like feel for the story, but they wanted to know if the characters were likable, and they wanted to know if there's any plot holes. And with the type of person I am, I like if I'm reading a book that's already published, I kind of assume that everything's already been fixed. And so I just like go through and I'm like, yeah, reading for fun. But if someone asks me to read their work and they actually want like feedback and critiques and everything, I mean, I can go through a book in like 12 hours and it can be like 130,000 words. But, you know, if you want something like, if you want a response, I mean, it's going to take me a while because I'm actually going to sit there and I'm gonna read through it thoroughly, and, I mean, that takes time. But if, I have someone else that I can say like, "Okay, like, I'm gonna go through and, like, check the characters," maybe you could go through and, like, check the plot or, like, vice versa, then that would go so much quicker. Um, and, I've even read stories that were like 60,000 words and they weren't even done yet, but, the person wanted, I mean, they were new to writing, so they wanted, like, detail on, like, my thoughts and where they could improve. Doing that by yourself is tedious. I mean, not tedious in a bad way, but, like, to a point where I can tell that my ability to go through a story just, like, significantly drops. And because, you know, I'm trying to give helpful feedback that's also critical while still trying to stay immersed in the story and, you know, seeing it from like an outside perspective as you know, as if I was someone who wasn't critiquing it. So yeah, that's another thing about Roundtable. You get multiple people who, you know, it takes forever if you're one person, but if you have multiple people, then, you know, you may get it back in like 2 weeks rather than like a month and a half.
The cats are very excited about it. They're like, "Yeah, mom, you tell them."
Yeah, I mean, just one more thing, Rebecca, real quick. I mean, that's our tagline, right? Like, a work is read by many, it should be edited by many. So it all kind of comes full circle, right? That's what we believe, and that's what we kind of set out to do here. So that's what we're about.
Yeah, definitely. And just so you guys know, we do have an example roundtable going up on Sunday. We already did that. I'm editing it now, so you're gonna see that. Yeah, on Sunday. I don't know exactly the hour it's gonna go up, but it'll be there, so look for it. If you have any more questions, feel free to comment. We're gonna be in those comments answering as best as we can. You can also email our email. I think I have it in the description box below. It's roundtableeditorial@gmail.com. And thank you guys for being a part of our first Q&A. We hope it helped. And we hope you guys will come check us out if nothing else. So, bye guys.